hear about some books.
Hi, so I just kind of want to talk about reading, which is something I've been doing for like years now. So I was first introduced to reading in primary when I was 8, when a friend decided to share with the class a book they were reading called Mr. Gum. Well, the class was pretty amazed that someone, at that age had decided to take time out of their busy 8-year-old schedule to read. No one does that. So they were labelled as smart. Now, I, being the kind and humble person I was, became jealous, of course. And so I decided to start reading as well, which that was what it was. Mr. Gum was my first ever book series. And since then, there's never been a month of my life where I haven't been working my way through at least one book. And I encourage everyone, if you haven't already, to at least open one book in their lifetime, and I'm going to explain why. So, there's a lot of talk about virtual reality. It seems to be looming around the corner, but in my opinion, sort of a primitive version of it already exists in the form of reading. When I read, the world around me sort of disappears, and a new world forms within my head. For example, my favourite book series is The Lord of the Rings. It has taken me to some amazing and spectacular places, and I've met some amazing people in it as well. That's not too corny to say. But, like, for example, the grand city of Minas Tirith, or the abandoned mines of Moria. Yeah, I'm going to go really nerdy here. And I travelled to these places with some amazing people as well, like Gandalf, the intelligent and wise wizard, and Frodo, the brave and determined hobbit, and even some antagonists such as Saruman. I looked up to all of these people, like, I kind of idolised them in a certain respect. Lost my train of thought now.
Like, hi.
What was I? Oh, that's right. So, so when I read these books, I was given such an amazing and strong feeling. And, I became such a token nerd. That's pretty much the easiest way to say it. I loved them so much that I began reading more about it. I began reading up on the history, events, family trees of some, and even began to learn a little Elvish, which I'm a little embarrassed to say. I found easier than French. A little embarrassing to say. But the reason I did this wasn't because, it would be useful to me, because God knows that's a huge amount of memory I'm not getting back anytime soon. But it was because it gave me a feeling, like a really strong emotion that I get from reading, and I get that from all books I like. I feel happy, almost as if all the problems in the world just disappear for like a second, and when you follow these characters. And that's the reason I read, and in fact that's how I judge my books, on the emotions I feel during it. A book can be like well written, but if it doesn't give me a strong emotion, I don't really like it. For example, Stephen King. He's wrote some amazing books, but he's also wrote some really bad ones as well. Such as, well, I know some might disagree, but in my opinion, the book It. I didn't like that book. It was really boring, and it was so long. It's just the characters in it weren't too good and all that. That's the only example where I think the movie is better than the book. But then another one of his books, Misery. Oh, I love that book so much. It's pretty much the premise of it. It's this writer who gets kidnapped by his #1 fan, and she sort of tortures him. It's not as bad as, it's not that kind of book. It's really good, honestly. It's not like that. So every pain that the character felt, and all this grief and sadness, and even his joy when he got out, I felt that. And I read it in like 5 days. Partly due to the fact I was on holiday and there was no Wi-Fi, but also due to the fact that the characters just seemed so real, and the emotion was so impactful on me that for 2 nights after that I had nightmares that I was actually Paul Sheldon, and that's how strong the emotion I felt during that book was, and it kind of rivaled The Lord of the Rings. It's like, those are the 2 of my favourite books, that's for certain. So, but the thing is, in a book you get all these characters, and just as how you would, when you hang around with friends, you start adopting some of their traits. In my opinion, when you read a book, you start adopting kind of some of the traits of the characters. I've got many idols from books. I've got like very few are from real life, but most of my idols are from books. And I base actions, and I base my thoughts and everything off these people. So when I read a book, I gain something more than just, an increase in vocabulary, because I've not noticed that. I can't spell, and I read quite a lot. But I gain a new idol and a new way of thinking through things, such as my idols include the genius Robert Langdon from Dan Brown. When I'm in a problem, I sort of look to him, because he's solved many, and I kind of like to think that in a part of me, when I read that book, a part of him kind of rubbed off on me. And that's why I encourage everyone to read. because you know it gives people a new outlook on life, you know, a new way to view things, a new way to like better creativity, and I think that you know that's pretty impressive. So thank you.